Good afternoon, everybody. I have a couple friends here, and we are working on February of the Kona 2025 block of the month. Uh, it's available at some quilt shops. It's available in a few online places. But a lot of them, I think they're coming in kits that you can get everything, and you can do them as you want. But we are doing it. My friend Amy and I are doing it through our local quilt shop. Julie has purchased it through another source. So let's introduce some folks. I'm going to start with Julie because she was on the Zoom first.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie. I've been joining Russ now for the last couple of months. This is a great block, and I hope everyone is joining us and enjoying it.
Julie and I are also working on the Dragon Fruit Block of the Month from Fat Quarter Shop over on our friend Stephanie Stitch's channel. So I've gotten to know Julie a lot. She has, done some awesome stuff with dragon fruit, and now she's gotten addicted to the blocks of the month.
I wouldn't be that far, though, Russ, if it wasn't for you and your patience. I'm telling you.
And Stephanie has
And
talked to you a lot
Stephanie,
too.
both of you. You took me under your wing, and I made a bunch of oops. But boy, after now, I'm hooked. I'm hooked.
And do you have an easy way to show the handful of fabrics that you are doing for this month? Because, we have a giant charm pack that we get to pick from. Do you have your fabrics picked out of the charm pack?
I do, and I've kind of been working a little bit because it's had so many pieces. But can you see the pieces?
Oh, those
Those are
are
the colors
some
I chose.
gorgeous colors.
Yeah, I like this month. It's you know, like you said, the solids are different, and I'm having a
Yeah,
lot of fun working with them. Did you get yours picked?
I did get my pick. I'll get that after we talk to Amy. So,
Okay.
Amy, just as a heads up, she is local to me. I've met her a few times, and I've gotten to see one of her gorgeous creations at the East Cobb Quilt Show that was this past summer. So, Amy, introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Amy. Amy C in the chat. But yep, I'm live pretty close to Russ, and we met at our local quilt shop, and we're doing the block of the month. And I thought I would just join in.
So excited to have you. Do you have your fabric picks easy to
I
show, or?
do. I've already started my half square triangles because, like I mentioned a minute ago, I'm a little on the slow side. So, but here's the
Oh, you got
colors
Yeah.
some cool colors.
that I
Ooh,
picked.
Oh, and you've got a black background.
Yeah, it's
it's got
let's
spots
see.
on it or something, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, it's got, let me see. Mm, there.
yeah, I see little
Yeah.
dots.
Woohoo! I like that.
Oh, that is going to be so gorgeous.
Yes.
So at one of our other local quilt shops, they have clearance section and their fabric is like 50% off there. And I ended up with a 7 yard bolt of that fabric. And I was
Ooh.
like, perfect. So, and it was in my stash. So that was great.
Nice. And
Great.
then the colors that I have chosen are going to be these.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're going to see how those go against the grunge gray paper background that I have.
That's great.
I like the grunge fabric. I thought about using
Mhm.
grunge. I also thought about using the is it fairy flakes in white
Yep.
from Tula. I
Mhm.
thought that would look really cool too, but I wanted to use a dark background.
Right.
Dark
Well, that
background.
quilt behind you, Amy, those colors I said earlier in that black background, those colors just pop.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for that. That was another block of the month through our local quilt shop.
It doesn't matter. You did the piecing and it's beautiful.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So in the chat, we have Julie Quilts. Good afternoon. Colleen is here. Charlotte is here. Our friend Stephanie of Quilting with Stephanie Stitches that we were just talking
Yay,
about.
Steph.
Our friend Jeannie E. And then we also have Linda's Trendy Threads, who has been showing up recently. That's awesome to have in here. So we can start sewing and let's see how far we can get with these pieces. As I normally do, I'm using triangulations to do my half square triangles just because it's a lot easier and faster for me.
And probably more accurate.
You can pretend that it's more accurate.
I used the marking, and I'm kind of like Amy. I started a little bit because I'm so slow. And
I mean, the whole thing with these half square triangles is as long as you cut them the pieces a little bit bigger than you need,
mhm.
then you are able to trim them down to the exact size you need. And like with triangulations, let me, I'll show you as soon as I finish showing the seam.
Okay.
There is a really cool thing that you don't have to do to make it easier. Uh, so I'm not cutting my Kona pieces. All I did was I cut the grunge about the size that I needed for triangulations, laid them
Okay.
side by side.
Mhm.
So when I trim this on the edges to finish my half square triangles, it just saved me the step of having to cut on the Kona.
Right.
So that just saved a few minutes, especially since I'm trying to get a couple quilts out the door today. And every little minute counts.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Ingrid. Ingrid is an awesome friend. She's doing the dragon fruit with us as well.
Mhm.
And good afternoon, Candace. I heard a rumor that Candace was eating some Eggos this morning. Don't
Yum.
ask how I know that. I got to meet Candace last year at QuiltCon, and um, I had zero retention of that. I apologized to her profusely about it because I have ADHD and I don't retain in large groups. But I also got to meet her again at Stephanie's retreat here in Georgia back at the end of December. And she is an awesome person.
Mhm.
And we're going to be going gallivanting to a couple shops in a couple weeks.
I'm jealous. I want to
Fun.
join in. Y'all are going to have so much fun if you can. You'll have
If you
to
can
send
get
video.
here from all the snow that you've had recently, we'll let you join in.
Oh yeah. Hey, we're finally starting to see ground. It's melting, and the sun is shining. So happy days ahead. I hope. Although they said we should get another snowstorm around between March 4th and 10th,
Oh no.
whatever that means. Yeah. And I thought, oh, so it's Steven. He's wreaking havoc on us. I blame him.
Yeah, it has been
Crazy.
crazy cold here in Georgia. And
Mm-hmm.
like I don't mind the crazy cold every now and then, but when it's every day for like 2 weeks, it's a little
Right. We're just not used to that. And then like up here, it's -5, minus, 8. And we
yeah.
don't have weather like that up here.
Well, my smart speakers, I've said this a couple times. I think my smart speaker is on drugs because uh what was it? Early this week, I asked what the forecast was, and it told me numbers that I recognized that were in Fahrenheit. And I just kept asking, well, what about next day? What about the following day? What? And then finally it says something like with a low of -2, and the numbers were getting smaller and smaller. I'm like,
Oh
-2
wow.
sounds way too cold. And I
Mm-hmm.
found out that in the middle of telling me everything, it decided to go from Fahrenheit to Celsius.
Uh,
Mm. Oh wow.
So I'm like, and it does it every now and then. Sometimes it'll tell me stuff in Fahrenheit, sometimes it'll tell me in Celsius. And I'm like, just pick one and let me actually know what the weather is.
I love the cold. I love it when it's cold. My body loves it when it's cold.
Oh,
I will take
love
it.
our weather.
I think I live in the wrong state.
Just go to Canada. They got it cold all the time,
Yeah.
or most of the time.
There was a couple time, or not a couple times. There was one time last year I did a Saturday sampler at our local quilt shop, and I was wearing pants, and the owner's husband was like, "It must be cold because you have pants on." Because normally I'm in shorts, like
Yep.
every single day, and it was just that bitter last year that I had to put on like just long pants.
You and my husband are the same. He wears shorts pretty much year round, but
Candace said the Eggos were delicious.
Yes, love the Eggos. I looked at last night, Russ, through YouTube channels, and Tracy from the sewing channel, I believe it is. She had some good pictures of QuiltCon.
I have been having a lot of FOMO from QuiltCon, especially some of the handful of things that I have seen so far.
I mean,
yeah.
they're way beyond my reach, and they're not my taste, but yet I'm amazed at the talent.
Yeah,
That just
that's
blows
how,
my
because I
mind.
went last year and watching the or looking at the stuff,
Hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, this isn't something that I would do, but I appreciate how gorgeous it is.
Yes, and the hours and the time, the
Yeah.
stitch. Well, I mean, I just was blown away. It's amazing.
And,
Yeah.
sometimes getting to meet some of the people that did this art, it was just
Hmm.
so we're already starting to see if we could figure out plans for Raleigh next year.
Yeah, that oh y'all are gonna have so much fun. I was it yesterday y'all mentioned about getting a
Yep.
Airbnb.
Yeah, we are somewhat thinking getting an Airbnb. We saw the prices and we're like, we can do that.
Well, with
But
Candace leading the group, I don't have enough money to bail y'all out of jail. She said party in Raleigh.
I
good
would love to go.
afternoon, Barb. And Barb says the young man who delivered her shipped order last week when it was 20 degrees there in Michigan was wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh wow.
Uh, 20 is a little bit too cold for me to be wearing shorts and t-shirt outside. On
Yeah.
Monday, because it was a holiday, I was off. So I went and got a mani pedi and I went in there in shorts because obviously that's easier for the nail techs. And the manager there is like, "Aren't you cold?" I'm like, "It's like 34 degrees outside. It's comfortable." Good afternoon, Melissa,
Oh, hi, Melissa.
who is another person that we got to meet last year at QuiltCon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she's having FOMO stuff now, looking at everything. Candace says her antics never got anyone arrested.
Okay, Candace.
Not
There's
yet.
always a first, honey. uh,
I would love to go to QuiltCon next year in Raleigh.
I just want to go and be with our friends. Oh my.
Yeah.
I mean, I know,
Atlanta was fun.
yeah, Atlanta was a blast. I know from last year that it's basically a 7-hour drive from where I live to Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
So, excuse me,
Can't you
that
fly
is,
into Raleigh? Isn't there an airport there?
There is an airport there. I initially was going to fly into Raleigh, but well, okay. The initial original plan was my friend David was supposed to come into town, uh, get a rental car, and we were going to split the cost to get to Raleigh and everything.
Yeah.
But he canceled a couple days beforehand because work had him going crazy stuff.
Mm.
And he told me that I needed to book a plane. So I didn't think, and I just booked a plane. And as I was trying to get Riley out to daycare and everything and get everything set, I was like, I'm stressing way too much. So
Mhm.
I called Southwest and said, hey, I need to cancel my flight. I understand that I can get a flight credit for a future flight, which I will be taking next year. Is there any big problems? Do I have to do anything? And she goes, yeah, you just have to go online and just say you need to cancel, and they'll email you everything that you need in order to do what you need. And I was like, okay, cool. So I canceled my flight and I packed up my car and drove up to Raleigh. And it was kind of good that I did because the first day of QuiltCon was the day of the big AT&T outage last year.
Oh,
So like I was like, I don't know how. I knew that I could get an Uber using the hotel Wi-Fi to get to the convention center, but I didn't know if there was going to be internet at the convention center for me to figure out how to get an Uber back. So I said,
Mm.
okay, I'm going to drive. At which point I was like, wait, how do I get there? Until I remembered my car actually does have a GPS in it. So I got there. It was easy parking and easy to get there. So I ended up just,
good.
driving all 3 days, 4 days, Colcon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. So I just said, that's what I was going to do. And it was a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of folks that um, normally I only see, from the neck up on YouTube.
Right.
And like I said, the just the gorgeous quilts that were out there was wonderful.
I think one of the things, I mean, in Atlanta, I'm sure there were quilts like that at this one too, but one of the things I really thought was that impressed me was like the solid color quilts, where
Yeah.
the quilting is what changed the color
Yes.
of the quilt. And that's one of those list things in the back of my head that I want to try to do. Um, just I like dimension or creating dimension in
Yep.
quilts. I think it looks really neat, and I think it's something I would have a lot of fun doing.
Candace said that she buys too much stuff to fly home, so she'll drive to Raleigh.
Yes.
That is what changed with my philosophy when I was at QuiltCon last year. Because again, with the initial thought being, hey, I'm going to be driving, I was like, okay, I can buy stuff at the vendors. And then when I thought that I was flying, I was like, okay, well, then I don't have to worry about buying too many stuff because and then when I finally just ended up deciding to drive, my third thought was I was going to be Ubering. So it's like, okay, I'm probably still not going to buy a lot until I didn't. But the good thing was, friends of mine were vending at QuiltCon. So I was able to use their booth as a staging area between purchases. Because
Oh,
I said, can I just drop some stuff off in your booth while I'm shopping? And they were also vending in Atlanta. I don't think they're in Phoenix this year, but uh, it helped a little bit to say, I don't have to carry all of this stuff around. I just have to carry it to and from the car at the end of the day. And I didn't have to bring anything into the hotel because it was fine to stay in the car.
I enjoy driving because I'm like Candace. You don't have to fuss with the airports and
Uh-huh.
and then you can just pack your car all you want. But
Yeah, I would.
a lot of folks like to just get there too.
Well, that's the thing about it is it would have taken almost exactly the same amount of time to fly from here as it was
Yeah,
to drive.
right.
The difference was, I had to drive through construction because a lot of North Carolina is under construction
Mhm.
on the interstate.
Yeah.
And they teased me with a Bucky sign that did not exist.
Oh,
Oh,
how
that's
wrong is that?
disappointing.
Because there was a sign that said Bucky's in this many miles.
Mhm.
And it was at like one of the splits. And when I got to the hotel and everything, I was like, okay, so I didn't see the Bucky's. Where is it?
Mhm.
And I started doing the research, and it said, like, I found out that the Bucky's has been groundbroken, but it's not scheduled to be. It'll be done by the time I go there next year.
I always wanted to go to a Bucky's. Of course, being all over the country. Amy, I'm a retired truck driver, and I've been
Oh,
all over the country. And
She's
every
yeah.
even
time,
been here.
I have to, but I hadn't been to your house.
Yeah,
I
she,
went.
she's been to the big chicken area and didn't come and say hi
Okay.
to me. I mean, just
I
so
know.
disappointed. I
That's
don't care if
rude.
you didn't know
That's
me
just
back then.
rude.
I know. I'll make it up to you someday. I may just show up. My gosh, and you better have a room ready. But yeah, I've always wanted to go to a Bucky's, but they're not trucker friendly. And you can get in them, but they don't want trucks there. And
Hmm.
so I never did get to go. And now I'm home and I don't want to get out and go.
Uh, I've
I
been a lot
know.
of places in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Once upon a long time ago, um, I used to travel. I worked for wholesale um, gift. I don't even know how to design and merchandising for a wholesale business. And so I would travel, got to travel a lot to different states, but I haven't been probably to nearly as many places as you.
Well, but you got to enjoy and see a lot of the states I saw, I got to see from the interstate.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people will ask me if I had my chance to go back, where would I like to go? And I have two places that I absolutely love, and that's Conklin, New York, which is up there near Buffalo and all that good stuff. The little town is amazing. And the upper part of Ohio, like where Stephanie is at. Oh,
Uh-huh.
those are my two. Those I really enjoyed running those states. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Was not crazy about Florida at all. Florida did not. It was much for me, and I don't know why. It's a beautiful state, but just I don't know.
There's just a lot of crazy drivers in Florida, I've heard.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
I have family who used to live in Florida, and my aunt has been hit as a pedestrian
Oh,
in grocery store parking lots multiple times.
oh my gosh,
Wow.
that's awful. And I'll tell you another place that I feel parts of it get pretty bad press, but that's only parts of the border. The southern border is if you go down far enough, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, breathtaking. You wouldn't think that, but it is. There's no trash. It's clean. The people are amazing. And I'm talking like Donna, Texas, Corpus Christi, Corpus Christi, Brownsville, down in those areas. Now, Laredo, I could leave Laredo. Laredo is the hub between our trade between the United States and Mexico, and it's pretty rough in that area. And most of the
Yeah.
drivers from Mexico don't have CDLs, so it gets a little wild. You see some crazy stuff.
I think one of my most favorite cities that I've ever been to, I think, was New York.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like, big cities and stuff are
Right.
concerned, I really enjoyed all the time that I spent there.
Mhm. Well,
But as
when
far
people,
as
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
that's okay. As far as states are concerned, I think I love North Carolina. I
Yes.
absolutely love North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate driving through North Carolina or Virginia. They are really long states.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
And I do not like California. They're not trucker friendly. They don't like us, but they want their goods. I've never figured that one out. They don't want us there, but
Yeah, I didn't.
I always say they want their toilet paper.
I went to California one time. Went to San Francisco, and it wasn't my favorite.
No.
And I can't say that I was able to really give it a chance because we weren't there for very long. It was like a 4 or 5 day thing that we went to. So I didn't really get to see a whole lot. Um, so, but whereas the other place, like New York, I've been there a lot of times. So I've seen a lot of the city and the different areas and all of that. So, you know.
This block does have quite a few more little pieces.
It has a lot of, like, I just got my triangles cut out from triangulations, but I still have to cut the dog ears off and pull the papers off and then press them.
Right. There is. I think that's another reason why I kind of started a little bit ahead. I don't know if y'all can
I
see
should
it.
have done that.
I've got my spots. Here we go, Russ.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Fighting, but I've got all the, what would you say, the pieces put together. Now I just got to do the block.
Yep.
And make sure I like where my colors are at.
Well,
I need to find my larger
my half square triangles.
I need to find my larger design board like that so I can start putting them together like that in the future.
It helps
It's going to
me.
get more and more difficult because I think the blocks are getting more and more pieces.
Yeah. Well, and these blocks are so big.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're quite large blocks.
Which I am not complaining about that.
Oh no. But I did a little bit of prep work just to make it a little easier on myself. Russ, I'm like you. I've got so many of these block of the month projects started. It's crazy.
Next month, I'll probably have a couple of my triangulation started and then also some on the live.
Did you see the fabrics for month 5 for the dragon fruit?
Yes.
Oh, the colors are getting prettier and prettier.
I mean, it's
I
all
wanted
so
to do that so bad.
Yeah. Have you ever done any paper piecing, Amy?
I have. I've done some. I've got one that I'm using my scraps on It's
Mhm.
it's a bunch of different like shaped houses and stuff. It's really
Uh-huh.
cute. And
Quite a bit.
I've done a little bit. It's I can't say that I don't like paper piecing,
Mhm.
but it's not my favorite.
Oh, okay. Well, the dragon fruit has a lot of paper piecing. Wow.
Yeah.
It's not
I
a
was
lot, it's all paper piece.
right. That's true.
But
New
isn't
at
a lot of it like traditional blocks that you're
Yes,
just
it's
doing
all
on
traditional
paper?
blocks. They're just using foundation papers to help get you a more accurate block.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's also to help, sell the foundation papers,
Right.
which I'm not complaining because a lot of these I could not do a log cabin that small traditionally. The
What
bigger
size
ones,
is it?
yeah, I could, but the small ones, nope.
What
right.
size is it?
Like some of the smaller log cabins were 6 inch, or I'm sorry, 4 inches
Yeah.
finished.
So the strips were like 1 inch strips.
Yeah,
Let me show
I
you
I love tiny
yeah.
piecing.
Julie has
So
hers right there, so you can
here,
see
Amy.
how
Look, this is what for
those are the 4 inch log cabins.
yeah.
so they're yeah, 1 inch
Mm-hmm.
or one and a half.
Mm-hmm. And of course, this is the back. But
Yeah.
I had really never done paper piecing. I kind of looked at it and fussed with it and said, "Oh no, this is way beyond my skill level." And then I just had to join my friends Russ and Stephanie, and they worked with me about an hour,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
and we got you going, and
I
you
took
just
off.
went zoom zoom after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think paper piecing is now my favorite.
I
It's
think I like the if I can remember, I've been kind of moving my room around a little bit. So
mhm.
I'm not sure where I have it, but if I can remember where it is, I'll pull that little house block out.
Oh
But
yeah.
I love they had the quilt hanging up at our local quilt shop. And
Mhm.
I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so awesome for like just scraps and leftover bits and
Uh-huh.
everything.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, so I thought, well, I could do like a Tula house and a Halloween house and a Christmas house and all of that. So I've made
Right.
the first one. And that was fun, but I don't, like doing like the legit kits or
Yeah.
I can tell you I would never finish it.
I think I'm kind of like you. I thought, oh, I'm going to bite off. I'm going to buy one. And then
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I think I better. I think that's going to be too much.
Yeah.
So Teresa Louise just showed up. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
I keep threatening Teresa that I'm going to move into her house because she has snow, cold weather all the time. I'm like, one day I'm going to show up with a suitcase at your doorstep.
Melissa says she just finished clue one of Flyaway, which is a Cotton Cuts puzzle mystery quilt.
Oh,
I feel like I have FOMO from that, but I also realize I've only got so many hours in a day.
that's right.
Trying this year, I'm trying to not buy a bunch of, if I say I'm on a no buy, I'll end up rebelling against myself and buying all the things. But I am trying to um, use up stash and
Yeah,
make the quilts and kits. I mean, I have kits that you know, patterns I've found and fabric that I've kitted up together to make. And then I also have kits that I've bought. And, I have plenty to do.
I could probably start sewing my kits today and not be finished before, 2030.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, Joydy, who says hi, Russ, Amy, Julie, and Chatters.
Hello, hello.
Bye.
Teresa Louise says, Amy, as long as you bring the sun and heat with you.
We can just swap houses. You can come here to Georgia and live in my house when it's way too hot, and I'll go live in your house when it's cold and snowing.
Melissa says she tried the no buy last year and it didn't work.
Yeah, I can't say no buy. If I say no buy, I will. I will
Well,
go
the problem
against.
with no buy is, Saturday Sampler at our local cook shop where we've started it and, we have to get the finishing kit because there's no point in making 12 blocks without finishing them.
Right. Now,
So, and the way they
the
have them staggered, it's impossible to do a no buy.
yeah. Well, but when, if you have a stash, like this is perfect because I had that bolt of
Yep.
the art gallery fabric that I got on clearance that I already had, and I had 7 yards of it, and I think we need 5 yards. So I was like, perfect. You know,
And the good
but
thing about
yeah,
this one though is our once we get the blocks done, everything is done because the finishing is the leftover pieces that we have from our charm packs. The
yeah.
only thing we
And
have to buy is binding and backing.
Mm-hmm.
right. And I'll probably, if I have enough of my background fabric left, I'll probably add another border
Ah,
to the to it
Oh,
to make
okay.
it a little bit bigger. And then the my background fabric, I'm just cutting it for the to go with the charm squares. I'm just cutting it the 5 inches and then saving the like little first cutoffs.
yep.
So I'll probably just throw those into the keyboard border too.
Ah,
I've never done a keyboard border,
I
so
have.
I'm excited about that.
I have. It's fun.
I haven't done one either, but yeah, I expect
Oh,
this to be
good.
fun.
And it looks like from what I've looked at, the keyboard border, all of the pieces are the same size.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, we can just
but the
line
one
our,
that I did it like different sizes because I used like the leftover bits to make the keyboard border, and I really liked how it came out because it was, all the pieces were just different,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
different sizes, and I don't know, it just
Well, at least we're not wasting any fabric. I like
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Especially-
Okay, Teresa, yeah, you can play with my fabric and I'll play with your fabric. I might have to lock up some of my Tula though.
Have you done much with Tula's fabrics with the big prints on, like animal prints and stuff? Have you done that in?
Um, I'm working on an English paper piecing
Oh,
um with her out of print fabrics. Tula Nova, I've been working on that for a long time. Um,
oh, okay.
and then trying to think, I have kitted up.
That's
I
a
haven't
start.
kitted up. And then I just where did I put that? Oh, it's over here. I just set up some fabric to go on to a zip up hoodie with the
Oh,
Tula.
that
I'm
would
gonna
be.
use, I'll show you. Um,
Oh, that would be neat.
I'm using what is it? The Deja Vu De La Luna.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna use one of, I gotta pick which one, but I'm gonna cut it out. This big print.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I don't know which you know one I want to use, but and then I have this for the background. So I'll cut the cameo out and then that'll be behind it.
That'll be gorgeous.
This
Wow.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the smaller print of this. And so I'll put a cameo on each pocket on the front.
That's going to be adorable. So you can do garment sewing also. A little bit.
Yeah, I've made a few things, but it's too hot here most of the time for like a, a heavy quilt coat. So
Oh.
I think because originally I was gonna do a quilt coat, but I was like, I would wear it like 5 times. It's too hot here. I've made a lot of bags with Tula fabric with
Yeah.
the larger prints.
Mhm.
I have a place for everything bags that I made with the sewing machines with the homemade line.
Uh-huh.
I've made project bags. I made a fanny pack.
Yeah. Those bigger prints are good for that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Colleen. Colleen said, what is the quilt behind you with the black background and your Tula pink project sounds fabulous. That quilt right there was another block of the month that Russ, did you do this one too?
I did that one too. It was called Pieces of the Past. So all the blocks came out of, I think it was an Eleanor Burns book.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that through our local quilt shop.
Yeah. And it was really cool because each month they would give us the block and then they would tell us, the story behind the block and the meaning behind it and things like that. So it was really neat.
That is neat. Stephanie did something similar.
Yep, Stephanie did.
The Civil War sampler. Her
Yeah,
and Steven did
she
that.
did hers with, and I think she did actual like period pieces of reproductions and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And hers, I believe she donated.
That's awesome.
Good afternoon, so girly. She says, "Hey y'all, looks like Amy has a design wall. Did you make it? And do the rest of us have design walls?" So
Yes,
first, Amy, do you have a design wall and did you make it?
yes and yes. The wall, it's just I'm moving, y'all. Sorry. So I just got flannel sheet set from a clearance section. You just want to get this super, like the more thick flannel, not like a
Uh-huh.
cheapy flannel. And then I just have cup hooks up at the top of my right under the ceiling, and I have it safety pinned to the cup hooks. That way I can take it down and wash it because I have a long-haired cat. So, but yeah, it's great. And, you know, but yeah, all it is a king size flannel sheet.
Nice. Do you have a design wall, Julie?
No, I do
I
not.
don't either.
I would like to have one, but wall space is an issue.
Yeah, I've been pondering making one over here somewhere,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
I need to first get my sewing room less disorganized.
that's where I'm at. I have too much stuff.
My original plan was to do just to put the flannel on the insulation boards, like they have at our
Yep.
quilt shop. And that way I could just stack one in front of the other. And then if I needed bigger, I could put them side by side. And if I didn't and I just needed a small one, then I could just have what I wasn't using kind of slid sort of behind like my storage area. And but I haven't done it yet, so
Mhm.
it's just hanging on my wall and
The
it's
one
working
that
out.
Stephen of the Idiot Quilter has, I like his because it's kind of like a curtain. And I think I could do something like that. And
Yeah,
kind of
Yeah,
that way you push it out of the way.
he
yeah,
both likes and hates it, he says. Just because it's hard to, like, when you have a lot of blocks on there, it is harder to push it away,
Right.
but it's very convenient when you want to bring it out and then put it away.
Mm-hmm.
And what Amy was talking about is at our local quilt shop. For those of you who have joined late, Amy is in the next town to me, and we are doing this for our local quilt shop. They have design walls, and they are portable design walls, as portable as you can get. But they are basically the insulation foam board, the pink stuff, and they just
yeah,
covered it in batting. And I think some of them are duct taped to the back, some are hot glued to the back. So it makes it easy to transport around the room. So they have several classes that they do, and they don't have to worry about making sure that there's design walls all throughout the place. They can just shift them because the foam board is very light. The insulation.
yeah, yeah. It's very easy to manage.
Colleen says about your quilt behind you. It's a lovely quilt. Her grandmother did many basket quilts and recognized it right away.
Aw, thank you.
So Girly says that she's in the same town as me, so we're neighbors. We're all neighbors, except for Julie, who wants to move here.
Yeah. I don't know that I could become a city girl, but I'd probably enjoy it for a little while.
We're suburbia. We're not quite city.
Yeah,
Okay. Compared to the farm that you're living on, okay, we're city.
yeah.
Yeah. All
Because
right.
as
But
I'm realizing, I grew up in a very, very rural part of South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was kind of a shock going from rural South Carolina to small town Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we're just talking small town. And then I moved to bigger town Massachusetts for college, and then down here to uh, I was living almost close to Atlanta proper when I first moved here. So basically, I got bigger, 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 and then I was like, okay, I got to get back out to the burbs because it was just too much.
Yeah.
we lived for when I first moved here, I lived in Inman Park, which is right smack dab practically in the middle of Atlanta.
Yep.
Um, and then when we moved out here, um, it's a little different, but we got used to it and now I like it because it's quiet. But you don't go too far from where I am and you've got farms. So
Yep.
That's nice.
I mean, it was nice going up to Dahlonega for Stephanie's retreat and seeing all of the what are those things called? Vineyards up
yeah,
there.
Dahlonega is nice. It's a neat place. I mean,
Yeah.
all of the North Georgia mountains in general. I mean,
It's beautiful there.
yeah.
Ingrid said she was thinking about setting up a design wall with the insulation board, but haven't gotten around to it yet. Melissa asks, where in South Carolina? I grew up in Sumter, which is about an hour east northeast of Columbia. So, um, yeah, just a nice little area. And let's see, I saw So Girly says she grew up here and it's amazing how much it has changed and grown over the years, gotten so much bigger and busier.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've
Remember
seen how
when we
much has
first moved
changed
out here
in,
from the when we first moved out here from the city, it took me 20 minutes to get downtown to work. And then I guess, after a few years, then it was like an hour, hour and a half to
yep.
get to work and get home. I mean, it was crazy.
I know it's bad to say it this way, but I liked when nobody was going in due to, that C word.
Yeah.
And it like there was days that it took me literally 20 minutes to get home from work.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my gosh.
I was like, can we just keep it like this? And
Yeah.
then they started
Yeah.
the construction at Acres Mill and 75 for that HOV on ramp, off ramp area, which has
Yeah.
caused headaches. And then, yeah, it's just gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, can we just go back to better commutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, this So I end up leaving early enough um, just to make sure that I try to avoid as much traffic as I can. I just hated when I worked downtown proper because it would
Yeah.
take minimum 30 minutes for me to drive that 1 mile from the parking deck to the interstate because
Yep.
of everything that was going on.
Yeah. The building where QuiltCon was in Atlanta,
Yep.
that's where I worked for 18 years.
Oh,
And yeah. And and yeah, it the traffic just got worse and worse and worse and worse.
and I get to pull the seam ripper out because I sewed
Uh-oh.
one of my fabrics on. The problem with using, print fabric with solid fabric is sometimes you mess up. And I sewed one of my grunge pieces um, right side to the wrong side.
Uh,
And I'm
Right.
like,
well, I tried to cut a 2 3/4 inch square instead of a 3.5 inch, so I have to redo one.
we won't discuss the cutting issues that I had yesterday for bumbleberry pie, which
Uh,
is a
now that
sew
you brought
along
that up,
that Stephanie and I are doing.
Russ, now that
Oh
you brought
no.
that up, what in the world happened? Because she said, did I use the right color? And then you said you used the wrong color, and y'all had me totally confused.
So she used the right colors,
Okay.
and I accidentally swapped a color in my recut.
Ah,
Oh.
Because I just grabbed the fabrics like off the top of the pile, not
Uh-huh.
thinking. So I had felt that I grabbed the same fabrics that I cut earlier, and I
Oh.
cut one wrong fabric. I'm hoping
Oops.
that I have enough of that fabric.
Well, y'all
But
still made it fun. I
oh
got
yeah,
I got
we
picked
got
up.
it to work, and
I was enjoying it.
I mean, a lot of block of the months, if you can do it, is, pick your own stuff if you are able to.
Mm-hmm.
We just, we really don't know how much extra fabric we have.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
we are we're trying our best to conserve every scrap because I did math, which I can't do without Excel. And I added up all of what the instructions say we need each month. And it was slightly more than what the entire kit said. So we don't know if they just had slightly more generous cuts as block of the month versus getting it as a kit or what happened. And I just said, I can go up to the quilt shop, buy a few extra fabrics, and we should have enough. I just can't remember if I had to buy extra fabric of this color because it wasn't
Mm.
every color that was potentially short.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
see, that's what I
I
like
didn't
about
buy, like a eighth or a quarter yard of everything. I
right.
just bought what would have made up from the kit amounts to block of the month amounts as a just in
Oh,
case.
oh, okay. Well, I tell you, that's a big difference compared to what we're doing with dragon fruit. My gosh,
I
we
know.
got enough fabric to really do something with. Which I'm not complaining because I'm a scrap quilter, so I'm happy.
Yeah, as I
And
said, I can cut up the spares from dragon fruit into 5-inch squares and make baby quilts out of those.
Oh yeah.
Because for some reason people are having babies at work again, and I'm like, okay.
yeah, dragon fruit was done by Fat Quarter Shop, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So and they all any of the ones that they do, it always seems like they have tons and tons of leftover fabric.
Well, they do the leftovers because Kimberly is a starcher
Yeah.
and she wants to make sure that there's enough for starching, because she's a mega starcher.
Yeah.
And she just it's all about making sure that there's enough fabric, and I get it. But in some cases, like with dragon fruit, I could have made a whole extra set of blocks with the leftover. That's not um shrinkage from starch. It's a lot of excess. And
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I also get the fact that when you're doing a block a month, you kind of want to make sure that there's oops fabric available so you're not
Yeah.
stressed out if you make a mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
Which came in very handy for me that first month and two block what month 1 and 2
Yeah,
because I did have a lot of oops, so it really helped me. I did have to buy an extra pad of papers, and I it might have been the log cabin ones, which that was fine, but I was thankful to have the extra fabric. Now I'm like you, Russ. I'm getting a pile, so
yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Good, 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 good.
Watch me screw up. So
Ingrid said the Uber driver that took her from the airport to the Georgia retreat house was giddy to get out of the city. It was hysterical listening to him get excited about being in the country. So Girly says she does not envy my commute into the city. She works locally about an 8-minute commute. I used to have that. It was 3 miles, parking spot to parking spot.
wow,
And she says her name is Julie as well.
yay, good name.
And she also says she loves the Fat Quarter Shop block of the months because you always get a second or even third quilt out of them.
Mm.
Oh, and she's also saying that Kimberly likes to overcut her pieces and trim them down to size. So when she's doing traditional pieces, I don't know if you've watched some of her videos, but she
Yeah.
will cut things larger than necessary and then trim them down to the size that
Mm-hmm.
they have to be.
Which I like that.
Yeah.
I don't mind trimming down.
So one of the purchases that I have to make in the next week is going to be design wall.
Yay.
Not wall board, I'm sorry, because these are getting a little difficult to keep in order.
Yeah.
On the bumbleberries, you're just got doing the blocks right now, right?
Yes, we are just doing blocks right now. We just finished month 9, and then month 10 is, or 10 and 11 are more pieces together. I know 11 is a bunch of flying geese. So I'm a little scared and excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then month 12 is putting it all together, and that's in May. So we got to figure out if we're actually going to put it all together in May, or if we are going to have to push that to June, because I am gone for about half of May.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. You're going up to your sister's, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Graduation.
Yes. Which she's a little annoyed
Uh-oh.
because they messed up her diploma
Oh.
or degree, whatever we want to call it. And I don't know where it got messed up, but like, when she applied and everything to be at the school, she says she wanted accounting, and everything that she did was towards accounting. But somehow they put her major as business management,
Oh.
Whoops.
which is, it's also part of accounting, but she is annoyed because she's like, I just spent all this money and my stuff doesn't even say accounting. And I'm
But
like,
can't
I
they just
don't know
fix
what
it?
to tell you.
Surely they'll fix it.
Uh, she's already gone through and started asking if it can be fixed, and they said they can't do a post-graduation change of major. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
technically, it's not a change of major. She went there in the beginning, so
Yeah. Wow.
So Girly, also known as Julie, says, speaking of keeping things organized, how do you store your blocks in progress? She's been using 14 by 14 clear boxes from Michael's, but is always looking for new ideas. So I have them all over my room. Some of them I will keep in clear plastic totes, the Sterlite ones that you can get from Walmart for like $3, $4. But a lot of my stuff ends up just being in a pile because there are blocks of the months that are happening and going on. I do have a couple clear vinyl front bags that I have used for past projects. But I don't have any real organization system. Do you, Julie or Amy, have organization systems?
I kind of do. Here is, I found these. Can you see those?
Yeah, that looks like what I end up using.
Okay.
They're from Sterlite, right?
Well, these are from True Living from the Dollar
Oh,
General.
dollar
Yeah.
store?
Dollar General. Yep. And this is called the short bin storage. And then I have this size I can reach. This is the tall size.
Oh, nice.
And this is what I use. A lot of you have seen let me show you. I think I can turn you without making you sick. You remember I was working on my room? There. Can you see?
Oh, you have
Nice.
way too much organization. I approve.
That is the tall size, and I've been putting those in. Those are mostly fat quarters, big chunks. There might be a yard or two in those, but most of them are just fat quarters and bigger pieces.
Oh,
But
nice.
that's what I do with it. My stash is it's out of control. It's ridiculous. I don't need any more. I need to have a humongous yard sale. But you know what? I've worked hard for it, and I it breaks my heart to even want to try to downsize. I'm not ready for that yet. I feel like I'm gonna live to be 100, so we'll see. I hope I do. But that's my storage system.
I know we have an episode of the social review at some point in the past, and I don't remember whose channel it got put on, where we were talking about how we do storage and stuff. And Stephanie from Quilting with Stephanie Stitches had some amazing finds that she has done from Amazon, like using what are advertised as fridge organizers. They're the perfect size to organize fat quarters in.
Yes.
I um I like to try to keep my fabric stored with something that has a lid. Or my yardage I have two dressers that I keep my yardage in. One is all Tula and then the other one is everybody else. And and then I have a double closet, and so I removed all of the like closet stuff and I put in a metal utility shelving unit with adjustable shelves.
Uh-huh.
And so the top are my bolts of fabric, and then the rest I use for like my kits and things like that, or projects I'm working on. And I use the art bins, and I get those usually when they're on sale for like 50% off at Joann's. And so I use those, and I have the shorter ones and the bigger ones, but they fit up to like a 12.5 inch
Yeah.
block, which is
I think
nice, except for
that's one of the
when
things that I get annoyed with is I want something that fits my block, basically the size that my block is supposed to be.
yeah,
I don't want to have to
well,
go through and do a lot of um, shenanigans with it to say, well, this is supposed to be a, you know, uh, I'm just going to say it's a 12-inch, 12 and a half inch block, and I have a 14-inch container. That just feels like it's a lot of wasteful space.
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
But it also gets annoying because, as you know, Amy, we do stuff from our local quilt shop, and sometimes, or most of the time, it's 12-inch blocks, which those are great. But
yeah,
sometimes, like the pieces in the past quilt that's behind you, those were 14-inch blocks, if I remember. And
yes,
these are 18-inch blocks. So there's
yeah.
a lot that is like, well, I have these, but it's a lot of extra
I
work just
hate
because.
folding them. Once you sew the block
Yeah,
together, I hate having to fold it. And these blocks, even like my project bag, isn't big enough for that size blocks. Like the pieces of the past, I used one of my project bags that I had made because I make them bigger, and
yeah,
it fits 14.5 inch blocks.
yeah.
But
I
this
have
one,
really thought about making some of those Biani project bags just so that
um,
I could have something to store my stuff in. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's still a lot of work because that means I have sometimes we can do 2 or 3 projects with the local quilt shop. So it's like, okay, do I need to make 3 different project bags?
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I've made four project bags. The first two are like the size of Biani, but they're like wide enough, but they're not tall enough.
Uh-huh.
Those like I just made up my own pattern. So so I just make them, and so they're, I make them big enough so that, my block doesn't get messed up when I take it, you know,
And then they
and
have that brand of project bags that I see on Amazon, and some quilt shops are making them and getting them and personalizing them to their shop.
yeah,
I think the original brand is See Your Stuff or something like that. But
yeah,
like they don't have a 12-inch size. They have a 16-inch size, which is
right.
a lot bigger than most of us need.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just without creating our custom Biani bags, it gets difficult if you're trying to preserve space. And again, some of them are very thick and you don't need that much space to store
Yeah.
some of the blocks.
And I don't those see your project or whatever, the vinyl, I don't like how the vinyl is on the inside of the bag, and then it
Uh,
catches your edges of your quilt block, and then it can mess it up. I don't like it. But mine are 16 by 17. These,
oh yeah, that's gorgeous.
Cute. I like those.
but it's not big enough to carry this block around in.
Right, right.
Teresa Louise says that she hangs her blocks up in the closet using those hangers with clips. And that is an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except, what is it? Amy and we have to show our blocks at the quilt shop in order to get our next one done. So
Yep.
it's not that's not convenient for us.
But
Great
yeah, right
idea.
now
Like
I
I
have
love
mine
the
folded.
idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least it's a way to store these big blocks without them getting messed up, because we're doing it for 12 months.
Yeah,
And, at least the blocks that we've finished that we don't have to show, they're not going to get all messed up and, you know,
yeah.
have bad creases in them. But oh, and then my block of the month, whenever like pick it up and bring it home, I just have um we all know where this came from, but this right here,
Oh,
I just
that's a good
put
idea.
the next month one in here, and it sits on the windowsill right behind my sewing machine, so I don't forget that I need to do it. And I just keep it in there for each month, and then once the block is finished, it all goes in whatever I'm storing it in. But I find I do better with less clutter. Um,
Yeah,
I'm more efficient if I don't have a lot of stuff everywhere. And right now in my room, I have more stuff kind of everywhere. So trying to get it a little bit cleaned up, but not put everything away and not visible, because then it's out of sight, out of mind. And
that is one of those problems that I have is if I don't see it, it doesn't exist,
yeah,
which is a problem when I have opened up my pantry and been like, okay, this is ancient.
yeah, yeah. But in here, I have this right here is a dry erase board, which I need to redo it, but I have it organized. So it has like, I don't even know that you can see. Uh, well, kind of. But right here, I have like my quilt tops that are done, what size they are. Do I need the backing? Do I need the
Oh,
binding? And then I can check it off as I get it done. Um, and then I have a list of UFOs, but I need to update it because I've gotten 5 UFOs done in the last 4 months. So
I
they,
used
That's
to
great.
have a spreadsheet that was supposed to help me, like your calendar or your whiteboard back there.
yeah.
It did not continue to work.
Yeah, if I write it in a notebook, I'm gonna forget about it. But if I have it right there and I can look at it, it's like, sometimes you don't really have something that you're working on. And
Yeah,
then, I can just turn my head and look and be like, oh, yeah, I can do that, you know.
that's one of the things that I'm planning on doing over the next couple of weeks is starting to, for like a better phrase, project plan my next um couple months of lives so that
Yeah,
I know what I'm working on, what I need to prep for. And I mean, I know it's not going to be perfect because we all know that Fort Worth Fabric Studio is going to end up throwing projects out there that are going to be fun to do.
yeah,
Um, but at least get things started in my head as to what I'm going to do.
yeah,
Well, I had to start writing everything down. I've got so many going. I get forgetful, and that's like last night. I wanted to do a little bit of prepping for today, so boy, I was on it. Thought I better get a little bit done. It just makes me feel a little bit better. I don't feel as rushed because I am so slow. But I do have something to show you.
Ooh,
What do you think, Russ?
you got your block done.
What
finish.
That's gorgeous.
do you think of my colors?
Oh, I
I
love
love it.
it.
I really tried hard to kind of get a good balance. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this dark kind of cheddar color.
Uh-huh.
I love that color. And
It
so,
made me want Cheetos when I saw it.
yeah, there you go. Uh-huh. But now, I'm doing one also in batiks.
Yep.
And I have all the batiks picked out for the block. And I'm telling you, I think I'm really glad I chose to help or do this with you because I'm liking it. I really do. I like working with these solids. I don't know that I could just pull solids out of the air and put them together like this. So I'm glad we have something to follow.
Yeah, I mean it's a combination of being able to pull them out of the air and also you have the options of seeing how close you can get to the project that they did
Right, right.
because you
Oh,
can
I
Yeah.
like.
see their colors. I mean, that's one of the complaints that they were talking about last week at the local quilt shop is they're like, okay, you gave us all of this, but which colors are we supposed to be putting in the block? And we're like, well,
Yeah.
you pick what you want, what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's not easy for a lot of people,
Yeah,
and that's one reason why they like the block of the month stuff because it's like, okay, here's your block, here's your fabric, this is how you put it together, and this is where you put each piece. Where this block of the month, you've got the big old pack of um
you have a lot of freedom.
arms, and you have to pick your own colors. But the thing for anybody that's doing this project, the undertone of the colors that you're given each month, all the colors work together,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then so like for
Well,
in my mind,
it
I
doesn't even
just
matter because all solids
yeah,
go together.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't even matter that, the within the block they all go together. But I
right,
pull out a handful of stuff from month one and get just as good of a block
right,
because the way that all of Kona stuffed is, it all goes together.
right. But I think, that's not, some people want it to be a little more specific. But I kind of like the freedom. It forces your brain to be creative.
Yeah.
Or for me, I'm like, okay, stop looking at the colors and just pick them. You know?
Well, if you think about it, you go to the store and you get all these beautiful solids. I don't know that I would have picked, let's say, here's the February card, all these colors and put them together in a block. That's not
Yeah.
normal
I
colors for me. And
Right,
now I
right.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
really,
definitely wouldn't have.
no.
I wouldn't have either.
And I
Mm-mm.
think a lot of it for me is I'm not a solids person.
Me either.
Like you put me at a wall of solids and I'll just be like,
It's got to have something in it. And, it's like do you remember what was it called? Turn down the volume
yes.
that we did? Okay. I did it in grays. I did the gray colorway.
Yep.
And when it was time to put it together, I was like, I will never put this together because it is too plain. And those were prints, but it was all gray. And
Yeah.
so I just did my own background and threw in some color into it and I finished it. So, but yeah, I was like, I'm never gonna finish it and I'm kind of like that. I like texture, like the grunt, like grunge,
Yeah.
or like the background I'm using with the multicolored little dots in it. And
I
you
did the turn down the volume in grays as well. And I gave it to my cousin and it was after I had gotten everything put together, I found out that I made one mistake in one of the blocks. And I said, well,
ah.
it's gonna live like that forever.
And your cousin probably doesn't know.
No, well, no, I told her that there's one mistake, and it took her, I think, 3 hours to find it.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah,
well, I mean, she didn't know what she was looking for when it came to a mistake. So,
right.
but then she finally goes, "Wait, here's the mistake." I was like, "See, I told you."
Mm.
And she's like, "It's still gorgeous." So,
I added like a sort of sagey green colors into it.
uh-huh.
Um, Gave it to my sister for Christmas a couple of years ago.
That one was hilarious because as I was putting the binding on,
Yeah.
I was like, I know I have enough binding because, I cut it, but I could not find the last piece of it. I could not find, I was missing a couple pieces from it. So I was like, I know I have it, but I can't find it, but I need to get this done. So I went to the shop and I was like, okay, I'm going to ask for the silliest thing. I need 4 inches of this fabric. And she goes, "What do you mean 4 inches?" And I said, "I am like I don't know where the rest of my binding is. Have since found the binding.
Of
Like
course.
as soon as I got everything put together, I found the missing binding strips. But they just were laughing because they were like 4 inches. Are you serious? And just them having to go through and hunt for that piece of fabric. I mean, they were able to find it, and
Yeah.
I gladly paid the oops fabric fee for it.
Yeah.
But just like I said, the whole conversation having to go and be like, okay. And I showed them the picture and they were just laughing. And I was like, I know I have it. I just don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And I need to have this quilt done so that it can go to Christmas and also be
I
shown. So
I went, showed my block when we were doing it was my first block of the month though, so that's my excuse. But I went and showed my finished block and picked up the new block, brought it home, and then when I went to do it, I couldn't find it.
Oh no.
I've done that
That's
too.
when I that's when I did the box sitting on my windowsill. But and so then I found it. I'm almost finished with that one, that quilt top, and I found it, the one I had picked up and lost. So I had to pay,
Yeah.
extra for an extra one for that month. But like sometimes stuff happens, I guess.
I am a little guilty of, the very early days accidentally bringing the wrong block and they weren't
Oh,
really looking closely at the block. So I was ready to pay they if they said something, but I was also
yeah,
like, I hope they don't say anything because I I mean I did not finish it. So like I'd rather not pay, but if they told me I had to, I was.
yeah,
So I got away with it for a while. But that was like I said, it was really early in my sewing. And
yeah,
now that I have gotten to the point where I'm more comfortable with my sewing and I know what I'm doing, I have no
yeah,
issues getting my blocks completed.
yeah.
Do they have more than one block of the month program going at a time?
They have they use it's hard to describe. They
Mhm.
usually have two programs going at the same time, but with the supply chain issues that they've had it
Yeah.
down to one every now and then.
Oh,
So it just really depends on when and where everything is.
right.
But and then even when they have a program going, sometimes they'll have multiple colorways.
Oh,
So
okay.
like to turn down the volume, I think they had it in
Three,
creams, grays, and whites, maybe.
Uh-huh.
blue,
Blue, that's what it was.
blue.
Cream,
Yeah,
grays, and blues. And then and yeah, so they'll have multiple stuff going on at the same time.
Oh, okay.
But their rule is usually uh like that it's just the costs are different if you're doing one versus two versus three. So
yeah,
and because the stuff that they are doing is exclusive to people local, I can't exactly, try to advertise it because you have to be here to participate. So it's
Right.
easier for me to say, you want to know the information, go to the shop. You
yeah,
can't get to the shop, okay, you're not participating.
yeah.
Because she likes to call us their insiders because we hear a lot of the classes ahead of time. Um, which
And
I really want to take some of their classes, but they're only available while I'm at work.
yeah,
Um,
And I mean, that's happening at the couple of quilt shops in the area. I'm like, I want to take this, but I'm at work.
right.
yeah,
Uh, there was one, I have the book, I have the templates. It's a braided twist table runner. And
yeah.
I signed up for it and they called me the day before the class was supposed to be, and they said only one person has signed up for it, so we are canceling it.
Aw.
And I was
Aw.
like, I understand you can't bring an instructor in just for me. And they said, well, we'll have it again next month. And I was all excited, except I was out of town the following month. I believe I was at
Aw.
QuiltCon. And then they had it a couple more times on their schedule, all on days that I was working or out of town. So finally, I'm like, okay, when can I do this? No, I wasn't at QuiltCon because it was 2 years ago that the class was going on. So finally, I was just like, I guess I'm not destined to do this class.
Aw. So you never got to take it?
I have yet to take it. I've told that quilt shop owner, I'm like, if you ever offer this when I'm free, I'll be signing up for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the instructor is no longer teaching it or if they just haven't had enough interest in the previous ones that make it useful for them to bring the instructor back for it. Because I don't know if it's an in-house instructor or a just a local person who teaches it.
Right. Now the other quilt shop where we are, they had a braided table runner class, but
You're
I
talking the
don't
one in
think they
Kennesaw, right?
Marietta,
There's only one
the
in Marietta.
Bernina dealer in Marietta.
The where? The
Bernina dealer in Marietta.
Okay, name the shop. We don't need to be name
Atlanta
dropping.
Atlanta Sewing Center.
Oh, they've
They have
offered that
they
class?
have yeah, they have 3 stores. And they were doing the braided table runner class. I don't know um if they're doing it again, but if
I
they
am
do,
going
I'll
to be there next weekend,
okay.
as long as my schedule lines up. So I'm going to ask about their classes because I didn't know that they did classes.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
They do that their Alpharetta store and their Duluth. Is that where the other one is? I think it's Duluth.
Yeah.
They have classes all the time. The Marietta store, because it's so small, they don't have as many classes and they don't have instructors available.
Uh,
But they do have someone that's come in and done a braided table runner several times. So I think you know, and they've made more room, so I think they're gonna be doing more classes.
yeah. Like I said, I think I've only been in their shop once
Yeah,
because I see them more as a machine. I mean, I know they sell fabrics, but I see them more as a machine shop as opposed to
yeah,
a fabric shop. So I don't think about going there because I think most of the stuff that I've seen them sell, I can get at one of the other local shops.
right. They do sell art gallery fabrics.
So that's where you got the clearance fabric from?
And it's worth a trip.
Okay,
It's worth the trip.
because I've used art gallery fabrics on exactly one project and I
I
love
like.
Yeah,
the feel. So and
yeah,
nobody else local sells it. So now I
yeah.
know that I'm going to be looking there.
And And if there's a fabric that you're looking for and they don't have it in that store, you can tell them they can check and see if they have it in another store and they'll get it for you. And then when they, make a delivery to the store
Oh,
that's closest to us, you just pay, you have to pay for it and then they'll bring it to the store for you.
yeah, that's
So
pretty
if you
easy.
can't get to the other 2 stores to look, but the other 2 stores have a whole lot more fabric.
Yeah. Because the only place that I have been that I have seen art gallery fabric was one of the quilt shops in Northampton, Massachusetts. And
Yeah.
I just remember fondling the fabric. I mean, all I bought there
Yeah.
was a whole bunch of Tula. But
Yeah.
and another block of the month that I just realized that I had. Uh,
A two.
but my sister, with her table runners that, oh, that should have gone this way. With the table runners that I made for her,
Oh yeah.
she picked an art gallery fabric in there, and I was like, okay, this is gorgeous. And then her puzzle mystery quilt that she made me do for her is art gallery fabric. And I just remember doing her blocks and then working on mine. And I'm
Yeah.
like, my stuff feels so crap compared to hers. And it's because she had
Yeah.
art gallery.
Yeah. But yeah, they have art gallery, a lot of Benartex and what's the other one that they have? They do oh it's called New Hue. Hang on. They have a lot of solids that aren't solids too. They have a whole wall of tons of different colors of solids but not solids
Well,
like
I
we like.
am now more excited to go there because the only reason why I have them in my list of places that I need to go is because I want to get some Culture Select thread, and you can't buy it online anywhere, but they carry it up there.
Isn't
So
that the
Okay.
trip you and Candace are taking, Russ?
that is not the trip that me and Candace is taking.
Oh, okay.
This is the trip next weekend because David should be in town.
Oh, okay.
So, uh, I mean, we'll probably go to the same places that Candace is going to go with me next weekend or the following weekend. But, you know, it is what it is. So,
Oh, hey, I can go visit the same place twice. Not a problem.
oh, yeah. I mean, I just feel like, going to the quilt shop up in Cumming, I think, David and I are going to go, and then me and Candace are going to go. So they're going to be like, you were just here. Why are you back? And I was like, do you want me not to spend money?
Right.
So I have my block done,
I don't have my block
and I am
done. I
showing
probably
that,
won't get
Julie is not
Oh,
doing
Ross, looky there.
it.
See how different that looks with the colors that you chose. How
yeah, and
Yeah,
and the grunge background. So
yes. That fantastic. Good job.
so I am now ready for next month as well.
Good deal. I'm gonna
Yeah.
work on the boutique one between now and next month, and then we'll go from there. So
The debt-free quilters here says, hey, hey.
hello,
hi
hello.
Heather.
Candace says Atlanta Sewing in Duluth has good fabric selection, and all stores have 30% off once a month on yardage.
Yeah,
Oh,
on the weekends, just if you either like just join the Facebook
Yep.
go on Facebook and you'll see when they have it. It's usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they're closed on Mondays and
And
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. Yeah.
Oh,
No, I thought they
yeah,
were closed Sunday, Monday.
Sundays, Sundays and Mondays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I initially was thinking about going up there on this past Monday, but I was like, oh wait, they're closed. Okay, fine. Let them choose the schedule that they need for that's best for them.
yeah.
And yeah, so I just figured, and I have it in my calendar. I was supposed to go last weekend and the weekend before, but the weather, you know, it just gets to the point where sometimes if it's a drizzly day, I'm like, I don't want to go out and drive in it with all the other stupid people.
Yeah, I
mhm.
know. Especially having to drive through Kennesaw and all that.
Yeah. And it
On the
also saved me because that meant I didn't stop by the other shops and make purchases on the way home.
right. Yeah. I mean, go from one to the other is 5 minutes to get from one to the other.
Candace says she doesn't care for the fabric at Marietta as much as Duluth, but Marietta has Sally tomato products.
Yes.
Ooh, which go on sales with Notions once a month too.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the Sally Tomato stuff
Mhm.
for sale from the other from like so yeah and that. So okay, apparently I need to really go and do some shopping at Atlanta Sewing.
It sounds
Yes.
to me like you better make sure you take the credit card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that too.
I
I
think
have
the
to
difficult,
conserve. I have to conserve because I know I'm doing a lot of shopping in May
Right.
yeah.
because like it's amazing. You get accustomed to everything that you have in your local quilt shops. You go to a different state or a different part of the country, they have completely different fabrics. Like up north,
Yeah. Yeah.
the all the shops that I went to, nobody has Lori Holt, which kind of surprised me because I thought she was a staple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
I did
one
too.
shop had anything Tula, which kind of surprised me. So
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
strange to realize, oh, different shops have different or I'm sorry, different regions have different tastes and stuff
Right.
for what they sell. So,
Hmm.
but I'm excited to be able to go up there and spend a couple dollars. Um, that these are going to be intended, unlike the dollars that I spent in Dahlonega that were unintended. So, uh,
I don't have any type of a quilt shop around nowhere. So I get enabled by y'all. That's how I end up. It looks like Christmas time around here every day.
Uh-huh.
so basically, Julie, what you're saying is I should not be sending you pictures from the fabric stores up north because you're going to be like, is it available online?
Yeah. Well, there is one. Let's see. She's in. Yeah. No, she's in Minnesota. GE Designs,
Oh, yes, you got.
and I love her fabrics. Oh, I have several that I don't need, but I like. So there you
Candace says she just finished her taxes and is getting a I need to do my taxes because I know I'm getting a refund.
go.
I
Woohoo,
I
Candace.
always over withhold, so I always know I'm getting a refund. It's just how much I'm going to get. So I'm focusing the refund towards Massachusetts purchases.
Oh, there you go. I hadn't done mine yet either because of the farm. I hate getting all that together.
Yeah.
I put
Oh,
it off.
I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it.
But
The
we
good thing
always do
is
pretty
I make
good.
virtually nothing from YouTube, so I don't have to
Oh,
worry about trying to separate anything yet.
that's
Not until I actually, start to make money from YouTube.
what is the cutoff for them to start charging you? Like,
Well,
is there
it's
a certain
basic.
dollar amount?
It it's when you can convince the IRS that your business is making a profit. That's really when you want to start considering it a business instead of part of your own personal taxes.
I got
So
you.
what YouTube is sending me, because I made very little last year. I'm
Right.
probably going to make just as little this year. But they just sent me a 1099 and I just add it to my personal income. And as long as I don't make a comment that I'm doing some of this pseudo bit. I mean, it's still personal. This is a hobby, so
Right.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not doing. I didn't join YouTube with the intent of making millions of dollars.
Right.
Right.
But it's a fine line if I start long arming for people, which thankfully my long arm is small enough that most people's quilts won't fit on it.
You
So
have an 8 foot?
yeah, I have an 8 foot. So
Yeah.
the like for smaller projects, I'm like, if you want me to do your long arming, it's a minimum of this, but it's also so yeah, it's just like as long as I can keep that, I'm not doing it for anybody right now. But as long as I can keep whatever incomes I have that are sewing related small enough, I don't consider myself a business, so I don't have to worry about it. But
Right.
um, a coworker of mine, his wife teaches piano. So that is a business, but you have to make a profit for a certain number of years. Because if you make a loss, I think it's for 5 years in a row, IRS says that's not a business, that's a hobby. You can't claim business stuff associated with it. So I'm just like, okay, everything is going to stay personal hobby until I've just determined that, I might actually make a couple dollars this year.
Yeah.
And then I can figure out, how I can expense things like, maybe QuiltCon is a business expense that I
Woohoo.
can write off. But again, in the near term, none of that is. So
Yeah.
Right.
Debt Free Quilter says, send him all the baby quilts, y'all. Those are the fun ones to do the long arming for. But yeah, it just if you start doing the math and then realize, you need to put a minimum amount on, a lot of those quilts end up being the minimum amount, and you're paying more than you should for long arming services.
Yeah.
Because, the time it takes to load, unload, trim, and set up the pantograph and everything, it's a lot of time just to get that to
And
start.
all of those things take, it doesn't matter the size of the quilt. It takes time to do that part of it, regardless
Yeah,
of what
even
size
if
it
it's
is.
computerized, because you still have
Yeah.
to kind of watch it to make sure, a needle doesn't break, or
Yeah.
it's doing things right, or maybe seams don't get, yeah, that it's a lot of work just to make sure that somebody's going to get a happy product. So I'm like, not until I have time to get, a studio built in the backyard and have a full-size long arm would I even think about doing that.
Right.
Dreams,
It is
dreams.
dreams, yes.
I know. I have dreams too.
So I think we will say farewell. Julie, do you want to show your block again?
Sure.
Just so
Here.
that everybody can see how
I want to
awesome it
see
is.
your hold yours up too.
And if Amy wants to show how much she's gotten done,
Yeah.
I have all my half square triangles cut.
Yay!
those are gorgeous.
Fun.
So I
Fun
think we've got
today.
some awesome projects. For anybody who is keeping track on YouTube land, there's still a whole bunch of other YouTubers that are out today. Make sure you give them love. I will be
Yes.
having my weekly vlog come out on Wednesday afternoon.
Yay.
That's a lot of fun with all the shenanigans that I've gotten up with throughout the week. Hopefully, I will have better pictures of this. I do have pictures of my sister's graduation quilt that
Oh,
I can't
yay.
share because she sometimes watches my vlog and I want to keep it a surprise. So you won't get to see that, but you will see it in May when she gets it. And then Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, I have my 11sies live where I am sewing up something. I don't know what I'm sewing this month yet, but we will have something ready and going for that. I usually put the thumbnail up on YouTube sometime on Wednesday when I decide what I'm doing. So I hope everyone has an awesome rest of your day. Toodles.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.